We back again, boys. A revision to my Eclipse subclass theory for the man himself, Mr. Donkey. All right, let's take a listen.
My name is Donkey and welcome back to another Destiny theory video. Last month, I put out a theory about how Eclipse Energy could be the next subclass coming to Destiny 2, specifically the red subclass that the community was speculating about at the time. In that theory, I proposed that Eclipse Energy was part of this new power system being introduced within the Fate Saga, something I called anti-causal energy. So traditionally in Destiny, we have what is called paracausal abilities, that being the power of the light and the dark. But what I was proposing was this new equal but opposite energy of anti-causal energy, which encompassed the new Eclipse energy introduced within Renegades. The reason I came up with the idea of anti-causality was because of what we had seen within the Renegades campaign, where Eclipse Energy had this unique ability to negate paracausality and completely obliterate it. This reminded me of the relationship between matter and antimatter particles, where when these two different particles came into contact with one another, they cancel each other out and obliterate. And so that's where this idea of the equal but opposite energy of anti-causality came from. But now, because of some brand new information we have thanks to Bife's interview with Destiny 2's narrative director Alison, I think it's pretty safe to say that my anti-causal theory for Eclipse Energy is kind of cooked and dead in the water. But this doesn't mean that Eclipse Energy as a candidate for a potential future subclass is also dead. In fact, I think it's actually quite the opposite, and it's much more likely that Eclipse Energy will be a subclass or some kind of ability we use in the future. But before we get into the new information and the new theory regarding Eclipse Energy, allow me to do a little bit of a shameless self-plug. So one of my goals for the channel this year is to live stream at least twice per week. Stream schedule dependent on my real life work schedule, but I'll be streaming on both my YouTube and my Twitch account. If you guys are already subbed to my YouTube, you can catch my streams on there. But if any of you guys are interested in checking out my streams on Twitch, you can find me on twitch.tv/DonkeyTV. I'd greatly appreciate it if you guys showed me some support over on Twitch, but enough of the shameless plug and let's get back into the theory. So in Bife's interview with Alison, Alison tells us a couple of different things about Eclipse Energy. First, she tells us that the 9 are the rules. They are the manifestation of fundamental laws of the universe. We established that last time, Now, this could mean a couple of different things. And I put out a video on my channel about my theory on what this could mean. Link to that will be in the description below if you want to watch it. And she says, because the 9 are the fundamental rules of the universe, they have this unique ability to regulate the capacity for paracausality to function in the first place. And what then that means is that this Eclipse Energy, or just energy of the 9 broadly, it has the capacity to turn paracausality up or down, to turn the gas of the metaphorical stove of paracausality up or down. So because of Eclipse Energy's ability to turn paracausality either up or down, we have a little bit of a spectrum through which Eclipse Energy can operate within. So what I'd like to do is map out all the different applications of Eclipse Energy that we've seen so far within the Fate Saga, starting off with the neutral application of Eclipse Energy, which I believe we've seen at the end of the Edge of Fate campaign when Drifter aged. Drifter aging at the end of Edge of Fate is a pretty unique situation.
I think a lot of people even missed that because there were so many people during the Renegades campaign that was like, yo, what happened to Drifter? Why does he look different? Why has he got gray hair?
Because Drifter is a guardian, he is incapable of aging due to his paracausal connection to the light which sustains his body. So for Drifter to age, there would have to be some type of external energy or force applied to him which would negate his connection to the light, allowing him to age. And what we see in the final cutscene of Edge of Fate is Drifter is flying the Hall at the back of his ship to revive 3 from the dead. And while doing this, we see this red energy fly across his face, turning him into a silver fox. I believe it was Drifter's proximity to the recently revived 3 and the natural eclipse energy that the 9 produced that negated his paracausal connection to the light, causing him to age in that moment. So from this example of the Drifter, we can say that the neutral application of Eclipse energy is just pure negation of paracausal energy, just shutting off your access to those powers, equivalent to just turning the gas off on the paracausal stove. And as we move further down the spectrum, in the case of the Nightfall weapon, which is a weaponized version of Eclipse energy, it falls under the total obliteration of paracausality. We saw that Guardians, when exposed to Nightfall, die instantly. If you interact with one of the corpses of the Guardians after the Nightfall weapon attack, you'll get a text box that tells you that the paracausal soul of the Guardian was completely destroyed. In the case of the Nightfall weapon, it's not just simple negation of paracausality, but it's complete obliteration. It's equivalent to taking a sledgehammer and destroying that paracausal stove, completely destroying it. You're not simply turning the gas off, you're preventing it from ever functioning in the future. The gas can never be turned back on ever again. But what we haven't seen from Eclipse energy yet is its ability to boost and power up paracausality, to turn the gas of paracausality all the way up. So all we can really do right now is speculate onto what this power boosting form of Eclipse energy could look like in game. In my first Eclipse energy theory video, I used Gurren Lagann as an analogy for some of the points I was making in that video, but this time for my anime analogy, I'm going to be using Dragon Ball Super as an example. In Dragon Ball Super, Goku can go what is called, Super Saiyan Blue. And to give you this bare bones explanation, it's Goku using God Ki or God energy while being Super Saiyan to empower himself. The Destiny equivalence of this, you could say, would be like using paracausality to empower yourself, using the light and the darkness. What we see in a later arc of Dragon Ball Super is Goku stack. We know who Goku is? Yeah, but you might not know Blue. And I don't even know. As far as I know, it's not that Blue is stronger. It's extremely efficient on energy. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's powerful, but it's also just extremely energy efficient. Key efficiency. I can't believe I even know that. Red uses up too much energy. It's just Super Saiyan using God Ki. But it's way more powerful than normal Super Saiyan. Right. But I thought there was a version. Was it Red or whatever? That's the other version. Red is raw, blue is refined. I gotta brush up on my Dragon Ball lore. All right, we'll continue. His Super Saiyan Blue form with his Kaioken ability. Goku uses his natural ki through Kaioken to multiply and boost his power output of his God energy with Super Saiyan Blue. He's stacking these two energies together to have a supercharged power boost. The Destiny equivalence of this would be using Eclipse energy as a power boost to our paracausal abilities. We'd be turning the gas all the way up, giving us a multiplier to our power output. So now that we know that Eclipse energy can be applied to our paracausal abilities as a power boost to turn the gas all the way up on paracausality, I think there's two pathways Eclipse could go in terms of manifesting as some type of sandbox kit we can use in game. The first possibility could be a kinetic subclass. It's important to remember that Eclipse energy is not paracausal, so it's not the light or the darkness. It's this different thing. And so if we were to have a pure Eclipse subclass, it likely would not manifest in the... This guy's streaming too much from Bungie. Brother, this guy has been talking lore now, and it's been all about the lore for a very long time. And he's like, look, we've watched lore videos for years. This guy's been keeping up with everything that Alison's been saying, all the Bife interviews, all that stuff. I really like his presentations a lot. I'm a big fan. Just saying, big fan. And, Mylan used to be the guy we would watch every week, but Mylan's doing other things, completely understandable. So the new generation, the next generation of lore holders. Same way light and darkness abilities does. It wouldn't manifest in elemental form like stasis or solar. It would be its own thing. And so I could imagine we could use Eclipse energy in a way that boosts and empowers our physical form, our paracausal bodies, in a non-elemental way. Some type of martial arts close quarters subclass focused on raw energy output. This was actually an idea that Tyson Green played with in some of the interviews he had with creators before the release of Edge of Fate. He said that he liked the idea of a potential kinetic subclass focused on raw energy output. And Eclipse Energy could be the way we boost our paracausal bodies enough to do some real damage with just raw physical strength.
Dude, what would that? Hold on. Oh my God, dude. What if Bungie took a page out of Jujutsu Kai? And who was the character in Jujutsu that had a heavenly ward? They had no curse energy, but they were so strong. Toji. What if we pulled a Toji? Bungie, you could be really cooking with this. Seriously, this could be gold. What if you had no paracausal powers? You were straight kinetic, but your shit just cranks, man. I mean, you put out, I don't know, a kinetic subclass does not sound interesting in the slightest. Would it just be a souped up weapons? Yeah, I don't know how you balance that. Like, how do you know what I mean? If you took it that way, it would be like, if it was like from a physical sense, you could take more damage. Imagine a Guardian that can take 10 times more damage, that can jump 10 times higher, that can move 10 times faster. Every time they hit you, it hits you hard. It hits you with the strength of 10 Guardians. Okay, you see where I'm coming from? But they have no abilities. No super, no nothing. Just a freak of nature. No thanks. All right. I just wanted to throw it out there.
The next pathway Eclipse Energy could take is just in the form of Eclipse empowered abilities to our old Light and Darkness subclasses. This could manifest as new supers, grenades, melees, aspects, and fragments that are just abilities that are boosted and empowered by Eclipse Energy.
Holy shit! What if Bungie's way of balancing our subclasses with Prismatic is giving us Eclipse that only applies to our singular subclasses, which is essentially their own versions of Prismatic? You guys understand where I'm coming from? You understand where I'm coming from? It would ruin PvP. No one gives a fuck about PvP. Stop. Bungie doesn't even care. There's versions of Transcendence. Okay, I get that, but this would be on a singular subclass. As in Prismatic is its own thing, its own, with its own, you got Transcendence, right? You have your Transcendence bar. Eclipse would be a Transcendence bar, but on every subclass with its own unique style, tie-ins, the subclass, things like that. You see where I'm coming from? Then you would have like somewhat of a balance between, because like for the longest time, people have talked about how Prismatic is just way stronger than singular subclasses. This is how you balance the things. No. You got to go more anime with this. It can't be a Transcendent bar where suddenly you go, oh, I can throw more grenades. Nah, man. It needs to be legit. You talking about Eclipse? You want me to put Eclipse on me? You want me to Eclipse power up my abilities? As a Hammer Titan, I want to be able to pull out a giant fucking hammer. I'm talking like I'm talking straight out of Warframe. Damn, 100 feet or more long. And I want to slam that shit into the ground. One time use. So a second super. Okay, this is probably not balanced. I'm already thinking about it right now. It sounded cool, but it's not that balanced. No, it needs to be its own. Okay, have you guys not played with Transcendence before? Why is this a new concept? This has been around for 2 years. What happens? You proc Transcendence. You now have a grenade, and you have a completely separate grenade, and your abilities are greatly boosted. It would probably be something along those lines, but for all your classes. I just don't know what the grenade would be, because like the way the grenades are, they're their own things on Transcendence on each one of the classes. You would have to come up with something like that on each. But this is a way you can balance all the classes together.
You can think of the example of like an Eclipse boosted Thunder Crash or Nova Bomb, but hopefully it would just be a brand new super or brand new abilities. Personally, I would like it more if it manifested as a pure subclass instead of just extra additions to our old pair.
That's a great point. Can we get a poll on this? Would you rather an entire standalone subclass at this point? Or would you rather this Eclipse thing, which essentially would be like another a Transcendent bar being added to all of your current subclasses? Wow. Okay. 9% in here voted the Transcendent bar. 91% votes for an entirely new subclass. The people have spoken. People want a new subclass. Let me ask y'all, are you expecting a new subclass in this next expansion? Hell no. I expect nothing anymore.
Causal abilities. Although I do think some of the old kits need some upgrades, I would still like some just brand new fresh stuff to play with within the sandbox. So overall, guys, this is what we know about Eclipse Energy so far and how it can be used as subclass abilities within the future. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the updated theory on how we could potentially use Eclipse Energy as a subclass or sandbox kit in the future. If you enjoyed the video, I'd greatly appreciate it if you hit the like button and subscribe button down below.
Good video,
and
Doc.
shout out to BRandom416 for becoming a member. If you guys want to end up on the whiteboard at the end of my videos, consider becoming a member. But no pressure, guys. I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. But that's all for me, and I'll see you guys in a video coming soon.
All right. Yeah, somebody get some shout outs for him. Look, I feel like if Bungie doesn't launch something subclass related in this year's expansion, I just don't know, man. I don't know if it's going to go well. You know what I mean? And the reason why I bring this up is like we've been getting abilities like the Renegade abilities, the Edge of Fate abilities, but these are all temporary abilities. I think people really want a new subclass. I want a new subclass and fragments to play with. Let me ask you, if Bungie came out and dropped a new subclass, whether it's a red subclass, a kinetic subclass, or whatever, do you think that's going to be enough? Do you think you or your friends would come back to Destiny, play with that new subclass? No, but it would help. All they got to do is drop SRL. See, that's that shit I'm talking about. That right there should remove you from the conversation. You know what I'm coming from? You come in here and you say some shit like that. We're talking about real stuff, real improvements, real fucking features. You know what I'm coming from? This SRL bullshit. I almost just want Bungie to add SRL just to show how quickly that shit will die. Just to show how quickly that shit would die. And in that way, everybody can shut the hell up about SRL. D3 wouldn't do shit either. Oh, D3 would everybody here, look, people here talk shit or whatever. D3 would. I know I got friends right now who hasn't played Destiny since Final Shape, and they still text me every now and then like, hey, anything on a D3 yet? No, haven't heard anything yet. They wait. People are just like that. They are waiting. D3 would. Should Bungie invest in giving us a new subclass inside of Destiny 2? Or if there's a D3 being made in Imagination Land, should that be where the new subclass is being made? Under whatever new criteria. And this is where I do my chapter of, or my section here of copium. Why not both? What a way to end Destiny 2. One last hurrah, subclass, round everything out, and then off to D3 land we go. D3 should involve new subclasses and new classes. Yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah. I would love to break the Hunter, Titan, Warlock, almost combat triangle, if you will. I would like a new class, whatever that may be.
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.